Kia ora koutou, ko Angela Caves tōku ingoa, no mai haere mai. Welcome to the Tai Tokerau Northland Business Growth and Support Virtual Conference. My name is Angela Caves and I'm the Partnership and Events Lead with Digital Boost. It's my pleasure to be hosting you over the next few days. I'll be co-hosting with my collaborating partner from Connected, Rich. Rich is going to join me shortly. Welcome, Rich. Rich is going to lead our first session in a minute. However, before we get into that, I'd really love to invite Barry Caldwell from the Northland Chamber, who's going to open our conference for us formally with a mihi whakato and a karakia. So thank you, Barry. Welcome along.
Tēnā koe, Angela. Me timatanga mō tēnei hui te ahi hei nei, me te karakia, nō reira e tātou mā ino e tātou. Manawa mai te mauri nuku, manawa mai te mauri rangi, kia mahara ki te whakaaro, kia mahara ki te aroha, kia mātou, kia pākiri. Kia aroha te tahi, hei oranga wairua, hei oranga hinenaro, hei oranga tinana, hei oranga whānau, kia mauri tū, kia mauri ora, haumie hui e, kā ki e. Kia tū kai aia kei te moana, e ko Ngāti Wai kei te moana e haere ana. Tangi a tukai aia kei tua whenua, ko Ngāti Wai kei tua whenua e haere ana. Turuturu a tai, turuturu au, whanno, tīmai te toke, haumi e, hui e, tāki e. E mihi ana hau he te mātua nui te rangi, nā nei, nā mea katoa, e honore e kurore e kia koe e pā, nō reira e te atua, tēnā koe. Tēnā koe. Tēnā koutou ia koutou e nā tini mate, nō reira haere e nā mate, haere mai haere. Ka ti, e mihi anō hukia o tātou mate, e mahara ki te tahi e te rangatira kia Lynette Howie, e tini whaia rangatira mō te iwi o Ngāti Wai, Ngāti Rehua ki Aotea. Nō reira e te whaia Lynette, e moi rā. E nā tini mate o te motu nei, haere ki te wā kāinga, haere ki te kāinga tūturu o tātou mātou nui te rangi. Nō reira, haere atu rā. Āpiti hono tātou hono, te hongo mate. Āpiti hono tātou hono, te hongo ora ki te hongo ora. Nō reira e tātou mā tēnā koutou katoa. E mihi ana ki a koutou e nā tini whanaunga, mātua nā kuia, nā tini karanga maha, e mihi ana ki a koutou katoa. Hui anō, e mihi ana me nā tini karanga hapu, me nā iwi o Tai Tokerau, nō reira nei te mihi ki a koutou katoa. E mihi ana ki nā rangatira o nā Pākihi o Tai Tokerau, nō reira mihi atu nei ki a koutou. E nā manuhiri o nā hau e whā, ki a Zoom, e nā manuhiri tirangi nei, e nā iwi o te motu, haere mai haere. Haere mai e raro e te korowai o ranga Māori e nui te ko me te hari ki a koutou ki a Zoom, e tēnei ahi. Ka te aki rā e tātou mā, nau mai, haere mai, whakatau mai rā. Nā koutou ki a koutou kua tai mai nei, ki te toko e te kapa tēnei ahi. Nā mihi ki a koutou kua haere mai ki te Zoom, whakanui te kaupapa nei, tēnei kaupapa tino whakahirihira. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Barry Caldwell tuku ingoa, nā uri a hau e te iwi o Ngāti Wai ki Whananaki, e mahi ana au ki te kaitoko e te Pākihi Māori o Tai Tokerau ki a North Chamber of Commerce. E noho ana hau e ki te kunga, ki a whangare te Rerenga Parawa. Kia ora koutou. So it's my privilege to be able to be online with you all this morning to offer our karakia to open this amazing conference and to mihi to welcome you all on behalf of the team from Connected and Digital Boost. The next 3 days of this conference is going to be an amazing opportunity for all of the Northland businesses to be able to dial in when it suits them to listen and learn about what supports are available to help your businesses grow and thrive. Also, just want to pay acknowledgement to the organisers of this conference, firstly to Rich Volkman and the team from Connected, Katie and the team from MSD, and special mention to Angela Caves and the team from Mind Lab and Digital Boost that have done, just an amazing job in these next 3 days of the conference together, with a big mihi also to the sponsors that have made all this possible. Ngā mihi te ako te katoa. Hei whakamutunga mo taku kōrero, he tikanga tēnei o tātou mātua tūpuna. So in closing, I'll just leave you with a small whakatauki in the words of our ancestors. Nau te raurau, nākau te raurau, aora te iwi. With your basket and my basket, our people will thrive. And so with that whakatauki, to us as a community, with our collaborations and the strengths that we all can bring to the table, it acknowledges that we all have something to offer. We're all just a piece in the puzzle here in Tai Tokerau. So, and by working together, we can all flourish. Nō reira, he te whare kia Zoom, huri noa, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you so much, Barry, for joining us and for opening our conference, and in such a special way. It's a real privilege to have you along with us. So thank you again. We will be seeing Barry tomorrow, who is going to be hosting a session around the chamber and what the chamber has to offer. So please do join us for that session as well. Thanks again, Barry. And I'd just also like to make a special mention to Anya, who has joined us. Anya will be presenting a session for Te Puna Kōkiri later on in the conference. And also thank you to Pat, who has joined us for our opening as well. Pat has been instrumental in helping me and Rich bring this conference to you all. So thank you so much. It is my pleasure to now introduce you to our first session. Before I do introduce our presenters, I will just make a special mention to our audience. Thank you so much for joining us here in the webinar, and thank you to those who might be joining from a live stream on either Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. If you are wanting to interact with our presenters, we can manage the chat or the Q&A function. So you can't, we can't see nor hear you, but you can see and hear us. So if you would like to interact with us, please do use the chat function or the Q&A function, and we will be keeping an eye on that throughout the session, and we will be presenting the questions later on in our Q&A part of the session. All right, it is my pleasure to hand over to Rich Volkman from Connected. Rich is an employment liaison advisor based in the Northland region. Rich is going to be talking to us all about Connected, what Connected does, and also the special work that they are doing alongside the Ministry of Education. So Rich will be having his guest on, who is Ryan Donaldson from the Ministry of Education. So we're going to hand over to you, Rich, let you share screens, and we'll get straight into it.
Great, thank you. And thanks for the karakia as well, Barry. Just give me a moment here.
No problem.
How's that looking on your end? Okay.
If you can just go up to the top and go display settings and switch to the other display, and then we'll be all good. Yep, perfect. Yeah, that's looking great, Rich.
It's all good, perfect. Let's swap that over. Well, no mai haere mai, everybody. To all our viewers here today, welcome to the Digital Boost Connected Conference here up in Tai Tokerau. Ko takatimu ko Hananui ka Mauka, ko Aparima te Awa, ko Takutai o te Titi te Marae, ko Kaitahu ka Iwi, ko Richard Volkman tōku ingoa. Kia ora everyone, so my name is Richard Volkman. I am the ELA for Connected in Tai Tokerau, so that's the Employment Liaison Advisor here in the Northland region. Looking forward to supporting this 3-day hui and to be the first cab off the rank, as well to showcase the business support throughout the Tai Tokerau region. As Angela mentioned earlier, for those of us joining us in the webinar, you can see and hear us, but we can't actually see and hear you. So please do feel free to add any questions or comments in the chat there by using the Q&A function available, and we'll address those questions towards the end of the presentation. Also, our sessions are being recorded today as well, so these will be uploaded to YouTube playlists in the Digital Boost channel for post-event viewing, and all registered attendees who haven't actually been able to make it to the live session will be provided with a link to this email as well. Via email. As Angela sort of mentioned there, I'll be sharing with you an overview of how Connected is set up as an agency and how businesses, the self-employed and members of the public can best utilize the Connected service to meet their needs. And I will also bringing in Ryan Donaldson from the Ministry of Education, who'll be joining us a bit later to discuss some of the practical things that they're working on in our region to help connect employers and students and to pathway them into sustainable employment. So first things first. So what is Connected? So Connected is an all-of-government service that aims to make it easier for New Zealanders to find government support for employment, education, training, and business support. So as you can see there from that graphic, I am represented by the little person symbol there in the middle of that slide, and basically my function is to connect up members of the public, businesses, job seekers, students, anyone really. We do serve all New Zealanders to a range of different services and agencies to connect them up with information that they're looking for, particularly around education, employment and training. So as I mentioned, it's an all-of-government agency, meaning that we sit across a range of government departments as a means to link people up to multiple government agency services, as well as providing knowledge and information for all New Zealanders who may be looking for those supports. Connected was originally established in part as a response to COVID-19, as well as recognizing that there is actually a need to provide a collaborative service that is sort of a one-stop shop for people to access and leverage off as a place to seek out information that will assist them in finding a suitable pathway forward. So if you like, my role is sort of to gather all the kai to the table. Everybody likes food and so do I. So I like to use the food analogy, bring the kai to the table and have it all there ready to share out with our people who do come looking and hungry for information and knowledge. So we don't actually hold any services ourselves. Instead, we facilitate and connect people up with other agency support, services and funding. So we handshake basically and link people together. So the representatives for Connected, as has been mentioned, are the Employment Liaison Advisors, or ALAs as they're called by acronym. There are 35 approximately around the country in various locations. I service the Tai Tokerau region, so officially Whangarei and the Kaipara area. However, I'm currently the only ELA in Tai Tokerau, so where possible, I am trying to service the wider region through different initiatives and utilizing my connections up into the north. So the aim of the ELA, the main sort of primary aim, is to ensure that Connected becomes the most well-known and useful service for accessing support for your business, employment, education or training needs. And as an ELA, we guide people to use the Connected service and direct them to our platform to help them find their sort of the next step really for support. Some of the ways we would do this would be directing them through to our website, which I will cover off a little bit later on with you. Directing you also to our hubs as well across the motu. So we have 35 across the country, and our contact center as well is set up to take calls and queries and that around the country as well. So we do have a dedicated 0800 number as well, which I'll share with you later on in the presentation along with all my details as well. So another big part of my role is event involvement with our external stakeholders and different community groups. My relationship with you, the public, as well directly. And the best way I think you can support Connected is by sharing information about our platform to utilize it as a resource. So this slide here just sort of really covers off the way we work. As you'll see from that graphic, there are currently about 18 initial government agencies for us to understand. Each one of those agencies has countless other agencies that are connected to them as well. So for example, the Ministry of Education, there are all the high schools and other tertiary education providers within the region that we also need to understand that are there and connect up with as well, just to help us support the public in our role as well, just with information and help with career exploration as well. So the way we work is engaging with our regional agency representatives there. We support, host, promote, and collaborate on events that have an employment, education, and training focus. And we do serve all New Zealanders as well. There is quite a strong tie as well to the MSD, so the Ministry of Social Development, being that they do have such a far reach into the wider public, and also employment and work services teams who are on the front line, working alongside those who are facing the biggest barriers to employment, and individuals who have been impacted by COVID-19. It seems like a natural fit to have the MSD host the Connected service. So we do sit within the Connected office, within the MSD office here in Whangarei. So while Connected and its representatives are hosted by the MSD, they're not actually owned by the MSD. So we're an all of government resource designed to serve all New Zealanders looking for support. Jump onto that next slide there. This sort of showcases some of the mahi that we've been doing up here in the region. We recently did hold our own event in-house here with 12 different agencies who came together really with a focus on collaboration, which is what Connected really is all about, networking and looking for opportunities to align, and looking for overlay with different mahi that everybody's doing and commonalities around that, so that we can figure out how we can streamline what we're offering to the wider public, really, so that we can get those better outcomes for our people. Oops, a second. So I guess, I've put a lot of those government departments there at the top of the page there, predominantly just to sort of showcase that we do have connections with a wide range of different agencies. So if you are looking for support and looking for information and knowledge and who to connect up with, we can be that conduit for you to actually access our service, so that we can then pass you on to the right people and give you a direct line of communication with somebody that will be able to actually help you with what it is you're looking for as well. So as well as hosting our own events, we actually get involved with a lot of community events as well. We are working with different community groups and agencies to support theirs. So recently, the picture on the left here was actually the Women's in Trades event that was recently held only last week, where Connected came along, supported by the Ministry of Social Development and Skills VR. So they actually brought along all their virtual reality headsets, which were loaded with a whole lot of different software programs focusing around the trades and construction for our wahine to actually get a little feel and something a bit different at the event of what it might actually be like to do some of that mahi, and just added a different sort of element to the actual event as well. So that was a really good event for us to actually get involved in. And then on the right there, we supported their Te Hano o Marama Marae as well with their educational event as well. The picture on the right there. And that was focused around school leavers as well from the Lower Kaipara and North Auckland area who were leaving school and looking for information as well. around what was available in their community. So as well as supporting community events and hosting our own, we also support external stakeholder events at other government agencies. So within my role as an ELA, I am part of a Ministry of Education working group here in Whangarei called E2E, or Education to Employment. This group is made up of a range of education partners who work collaboratively to create initiatives and events to develop student pathways into employment. The Ministry of Education recently held a speed meet, a series of them actually, across the region that I was able to support by connecting Ministry of Social Development Work Services team to invite local employers to that so that they could actually meet year 12 and 13 school leavers in an interview type of setting. And so I guess on that note, I'd like to bring in Ryan Donaldson from the Ministry of Education and a member of the E2E group to talk a bit about his mahi in the space, with a focus on how employers can build relationships with schools and also school leavers to create pathways for them into employment. So kia ora, Ryan.
Kia ora, thanks, Rich. Kia ora te whānau.
Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, good to be here, man. So my name is Ryan Donaldson. I am a principal advisor with a specializing in secondary transitions. I'm always known as a PAST. And yeah, I guess I'm just really here today to do more of a pitch than anything, to be honest. As Rich has said, our role is really focused on the transitions for students leaving school, and really our role is to support them with what are those pathways from school, you know, is it into employment, is it into university, tertiary, whatever. So really that's what I'm here to today, to speak a little bit more on, really, and talk about, I suppose, as terms of the pitch for our business sector up here in Northland. How can you, I suppose, get involved and maybe consider students as you know, they are our potential future workforce. So how can we get involved with them sooner than later, you know, so we're setting them up for success in our community. So maybe Rich, if we go to the next slide. So yeah, the past role. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
I'll just talk a little bit about more around our role. So the past, or the principal advisor for secondary transitions, was a regional based role, and so across Aotearoa, there are pasts situated in all of the different regions, and essentially we are there to work alongside our school and educational leaders and employment, all of the interface, to support students leaving school, and to support them with those decision-making process, how to navigate the system, you know, how do we link up employers with schools, all that sort of stuff. So it's quite a broad role, to be honest with you. Very fun, lots of different exciting projects that we currently do. And I guess it's a privilege to be able to work alongside MSD and Richard Connected and the others in the E2E spaces I'll talk to in a little bit more. So maybe go to the next slide. And E2E. So Richard's already talked a little bit about the script, so I thought I'd fill in a little bit more context. So this E2E group in particular for Tai Tokerau is a independent action group. So this was actually set up, initially it was an initiative by MOE, and we sort of put it out there to hold a sector hui and for everybody working in the education, tertiary and in the employment space to get together all of the, you know, across Northland and say, actually, how can we change the space? How can we do more to better the connections between E2E? So on the bottom right is one of the first I'm reading your question. It's one of the first group. So there's Alistair Gilbert from Boys High and a few other key people in there that you might recognise. And so this was set up in 2018. We held our first sector hui up in Kirikiri. And yeah, the sector decided that actually we've got all these great ideas here that we've captured. We need to form an action group to actually put this into place and actually make this happen. So yeah, since 2018, we've had an E2E group for Tai Tokerau, and this group in particular, over these last few years, we've run yearly teachers only days. This is for teachers, biannually, I think they were, but these are for teachers to get a better grasp on what are some of the opportunities outside of school for these students on the local level. And so next year, for example, in March, we've got the next Teachers Only Day where we're bringing in, it's going to be a digital themed day, and we're going to be sort of going through what are the various career pathways that are in the digital space and some of the exciting opportunities coming up here to Northland. For example, Amazon Web Service are getting involved, and they're talking about how they've created and launched a brand new model where it's actually incorporating our New Zealand curriculum. And what they're trying to achieve is they want more coders because they're desperate for these new coders to come through. And so they want to try and invest in our students now. So they're leaving school, with their career pathway in mind. So it's really exciting. Some really cool things going on there. We also do the speed meets, as Richard said. So these have been successful events. Essentially, it's kind of like a speed dating concept where we have a bunch of employers situated around the room. And so students from various schools will come together to the speed meet event, and they have a 5-minute interview with an employer. And this is sort of to just create awareness regarding, what are some of the local career pathways here for our students, but also for employers to sort of gauge, what the students that are ready to work, actually, let's start pulling them on. Is the opportunity there to connect? And actually, there's been apprenticeships gained within these events. There's been jobs. So they've been very successful, and it's really cool to sort of see these events and in action. You probably talked to more of that, Rich, but yeah, it's been cool.
It was a great day. I mean, the turnout was impressive. I think we had more than just the students from the actual school itself there on the day. There was a few other different providers that came down and brought their students along as well. It was just really good to get people involved, and the employers are really engaged and involved as well. So the vibe in the room was really great, and there was a lot of good feedback that came back from students and teachers as well, just commenting on how sort of engaged the students actually were as a result of that.
Yeah, some excitement around today, and I think it really helps with the easing of it. And so from these events, at the end of it, we will match up. So students will go around with an app on their phone, and they will be able to sort of say, after meeting with, I don't know, for example, there's McDonald's or the warehouse, whatever. But after meeting with an employer, they can tick the box whether they'd like to carry on the conversation with them, and the employer will do the same thing. So at the end of the day, we match up all of the matches together, all of the yeses, and then we send out an email to the student and to the employer and the teachers as well, just letting them know that you've had a successful match, and then it's up to them to continue that conversation down the line. So we run those in Kaipara, Whangarei, Bay of Islands, and in this sort of Kirikiri area, and up in Kaitai and Te Huku. And so those are yearly events. So yeah, we're really keen, if anyone's listening to this, to get involved. This is one of the opportunities to do that. Just get in touch with myself. And yeah, I'll let you know and keep you in the loop regarding next year's event. Cool. We'll move on to the next slide. Cool. So I just wanted to briefly touch on some of these other points here. Going on more opportunities for how local employers can actually just get involved with their local schools, in terms of how do I, have a lot of conversations with employers that they are hiring students and they're just not, they're not sticking around, or a lot of school leavers. I suppose it's also to speak to the volume of job opportunities that are out there in our current market. But in conversations that we've had, it's been hard to sort of retain people after they've left school into whatever career force that they're going into. So some of these initiatives here are to speak on actually how do we start investing in our students and support them as they're leaving school, even potentially still while they're in school. So they're actually more engaged when they leave and go into your employment place. So the first one I just wanted to touch on was our Trades Academies program. Some of you might already be aware of this, but I just wanted to briefly touch on some. Actually, what is it? Because it's quite an exciting initiative, and it's quite innovative in the way that it's engaging our students to still, stay at school, stay enrolled at school, while also being on a successful pathway to employment as well. So the Trades Academies are a secondary tertiary program. They provide secondary students access to a broad range, I'm going to read something real quick if I don't get it wrong, a broad range of trades or technology learning opportunities to ensure they stay engaged in education. The program is full-time, so it's 25 to 30 hours a week for students that are enrolled in school, and it consists of learning in secondary and tertiary settings, and it may include work experience where it's been part of the placement essentially, or where it leads into the employment place. Yes, it's the success for these programs is that it really does motivate students to actually want to stay engaged at school, one, but also again, like I'm saying, it's that tiptoe into their next step, which I think as much support as we can do in that space, the better. And, you know, Bay of Islands College is a really successful program, Trades Academy program that's currently in place. And it's totally changed some of these students' lives. So yeah, I would encourage you if you get the chance to just have a look into a Trades Academy program. It's well worth it. And yeah, there's some really cool partnership opportunities there. Yeah.
Brilliant.
We've got Gateway as well. So the Gateway's a little bit similar, and it's essentially Gateway is designed to support students transition into the workplace while doing sort of bite-sized workplace placements. You know, it's an opportunity for employers as well to take on a student maybe 1 day or 2 days a week to just give them a glimpse into what it's like in the workforce, you know, what it's like in your workplace. And so there's some mutually beneficial opportunities here. I had a chat with Rich last week about this with his dad, for example. Sorry, Rich used this as an example, but you know, for a local builder that's actually struggling to find even just someone to just give them a hand, you know, around cleaning up a yard or something like that. Actually, this might be an opportunity to actually get a student on site into your workplace and just let them be a hammer hand for the day. Let them try it out. See if it's for them. You know, they're never going to know this until they actually give it a go. So Gateway programs are really a good opportunity to do that too. And so every school typically will have a Gateway coordinator within the school, and they are responsible for all of the students within that school that are wanting to sort of get some work experience opportunities. So, and the best way for you to get in touch with these people is literally probably just get in touch with your local school and see if there's a coordinator there on site. Or again, feel free to come to me and ask for any support. Our roles are really similar to Rich in the sense, conduits for the secondary tertiary interface. So yeah, feel free to get in touch with me regarding that one as well. Yeah, and the last one is career ambassadors. So this is a concept. This is a very local concept that we're sort of in a pilot at this stage, and this has been started up in Te Huku from my colleague Jess Keane and Sally Lockley and Alana Quinn from Te Huku, who are two teachers, and Alana's now a principal, I believe. We're wanting to support the transitions from intermediates into secondary, as we're having a lot of students there just falling through the gaps, essentially, that weren't even getting picked up going into the secondary school. And one of the things that we have sort of been talking about is actually how do we get careers, you know, conversations happening earlier for our young people to actually help them, again, be engaged with the rest of their school journey. You know, if they can have a goal in mind that they can work towards, or there's ways that the teachers are actually able to sort of help guide them and towards that direction, it really does help with the students' engagement. So the Career Ambassadors program is essentially a tuakana tēnā approach to helping young students find out about career pathways that are out there for them, while also providing the year 10s and the year 9s and the year 8s opportunities to form a mentorship or a buddy relationship for the students that are transitioning from the intermediate schools into the secondary school and the college. So this has been it's been a really fun little program that we've been doing. So we've been working with a bunch of career ambassadors, for a lack of a better word. They haven't come up with a better name yet. And just really showing them around the different career pathways. This has been self-led by them. So they've sort of identified what they wanted to achieve throughout the year, which was, you know, finding out about local career pathways that are available to them, and what are some of the local employers that are out there, how do they get into this, and they do research into how they, you know, what does it take to become a architect or a project manager within a work site. So yeah, that's been going on for a bit. So that's it's really cool.
No, some really cool stuff there, Ryan. So thank you for that.
All good.
I think it's
all good.
Really valuable information.
All good, man. Yeah. So my info and my email's all there. Feel free to get in touch if you guys need anything or have any further questions.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, this will be distributed out as well to everybody after this as well. So I'll crack on. I am just sort of aware of time there.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks so much, Ryan. So just very briefly, I wanted to touch on the website as well. So obviously we do have our own website, 3 different sort of categories there: support for you, which links you up to jobs, career advice, CVs, and all the information as well around education, apprenticeships and training and that sort of thing as well. Also support for businesses as well. So if you clicked on this on the website, it would take you through to a range of different supports for your business, particularly around funding for taking on staff, or investment training, that sort of thing as well. And different supports around retaining staff and developing staff skills as well. There is also some information for self-employment there, which we'll have a session on that later with the Ministry of Social Development, and the COVID-19 business assistance as well. And finally there, just the support in your region as well. So that's more the locally based stuff, obviously. So that really covers off events that are happening in your area, the things that I sort of touched on earlier that were happening out in the community, and also the different services and supports and providers that are out there within the region as well. So locally to you, that are there to support you with your pathway forwards around education, employment and training. And finally, just a quick little overview of how to get connected. So obviously our website, which I've just touched on, the 0800 number there, and the connected centres as well. So that will link you through to 150 different employment, education, training, business support services, or types of support offered by government agencies as well. And I think that's pretty much us in a nutshell, really. The connected site is obviously open Monday to Friday, 8 till 5. If you are looking for support, if you do have questions and you're not too sure where to go, please do come in and see me here. I am based out of Whangarei at 4 Albert Street. And if I'm not actually here at my desk, then best thing to do is probably email me or send me a text, phone me, which is available here. So that sort of brings me to the end of the presentation. I would really like to thank you all for your participation. And just to reiterate, if you do need support or training with education, employment or business support, do feel free to come down and see me here. And I look forward to meeting you out in the community as well. That's it. Thanks, Angela.
No problem. Thank you, Rich. And thank you for joining us, Ryan. I think you guys are doing some amazing work in that space. I know Rich alongside all your other connections, but being that massive conduit of support to the Ministry of Education and getting, access to those employers, such incredible work for our youth there. So well done, the two of you. I am super conscious of time and apologise that we have run slightly over, but if you do need to get in touch with Rich, I have popped some details on the screen there for you to come back, watch this recording, and you'll be able to access this information through the recording. To reiterate why Digital Boost is here, and you'll be hearing from us towards the end of the conference, is to help support you on that digital transformation journey. So please do, if you haven't already, sign up to Digital Boost and then come along to our session, and we will be able to help support you in your digital transformation. That does bring our first session to a close. So thank you again so much for joining us. I do want to just acknowledge there was one question that comes through about the connection to Amotai. Please join us for the Amotai session in the conference, and you'll be able to see how we collaborate as an entire ecosystem of support to our business community. So Amotai will be joining us later in the week. Up next, we do have employment.gov at 1 o'clock, followed by business.gov at 1:45, and then Te Puna Kōkiri at 2:30. And we'll finish off the day with New Zealand Trade and Enterprise later on this afternoon. Thank you again for joining us. Apologies for running over time, and I do hope to see you all in future sessions. Thanks so much, everybody.